Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another beginner's guide. This time we're going over Vegeks and the Saiyan Wonder starter deck. So these starter decks did come out over the course of the weekend. If you guys are new to the game or you guys want to just dive into Vegeks, which is known to be a very powerful meta deck, we're going to talk about the best build you can create with just 2 structure decks, and then I'm going to help you guys enhance the build a little bit cheaply with some outside cards that don't come in the structure deck. If you want to build the full meta version of Vegeks, it is relatively expensive, but this deck gets you started with it. It gets you started into the game, and it kind of shows you how the deck works. So if you want to start with Vegeks, you can make a very small $20 investment, get started right here. So with just 2 structure decks. So guys, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. If you want to help support the channel, there are many free ways to do that during these trying times. You can always like the video, maybe share the video, maybe watch an ad. And if you guys want to buy or pre-order any of the cards you see in today's video, you can always use my link in the description to TCG Player. All that stuff really does help out a lot, guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys that does that for me. So getting started with the leader, what does it do? Permanent, you can only play mono black battle cards. Now this trips a lot of people up. What this means is, it's not like the Janemba Mill leader where it says you can't include X cards in your deck. You can still include whatever cards in your deck you want, anything. That's not restricted. The only thing that's restricted is you can only play black battle cards to the battle area. That's what it means. Play specifically refers to putting them onto the battle area, not including them in your deck. So that's really important to clarify. Activate main once per turn, burst 5, draw 1, awaken, or noise 4 or less, or you have 20 or more cards in your drop area, and the 20 or more cards is generally how you're going to awaken. You may draw 1 card, switch 1 of your energy to active mode, add cards from life to your hand until you have 6 cards in your life, and then flip this card over. So kind of nice. You can awaken at 8 life and still get a few cards from your life to your hand. You're not always gonna have the biggest hand in Vegeks, but you know they make up for that by all the different stuff in the main deck, which we'll talk about in a bit. So permanent, again, you can only play mono black battle cards. Sparking 20. If you would lose the game by running out of cards in your deck, shuffle your drop area into your deck instead. So you really can't lose to mill, which is really cool. And it also helps you activate main, which says draw 1, then place 5 cards on top of your deck in the drop area. Then choose one of your black Unison cards, and it gains double strike for the turn. So you never deck out there, even though you have to continuously mill 5. That's really helpful. So that's the leader. Going on to the main deck, we're going over the staples really quickly. I talked about this in the other beginners guides. You're always going to play 4 super combos no matter what. Bibbidi in particular is an excellent super combo, because in these mono black strategies like this and like Boo, they're kind of going with like this low hand route where they're letting you spam things onto the board, but they're kind of costing you hand size. So Bibbidi is really good because he gains plus 1,000 power for every black card in your warp and drop area, as long as all your energy is black. So he's really good. He makes up for your lower hand size. Power burst is great. It helps us recycle a lot of the cards we need in the deck, which we will see in just a bit. And then 2, furthering instruction Champa. Sometimes your Unison card is going to get negated. The attack's going to get negated. And we saw just a second ago how the leader gives the Unison double strike. That's very powerful. But sometimes your Unison will get negated. You need to go in with either a battle card or your leader for a double strike. Furthering instruction Champa is there for that purpose. And like I mentioned before, you can still combo with Champa. You just can't play it onto the field because of your leader's permanent. But that doesn't mean you can't combo with it. Comboing is not considered playing. So I just thought I would clarify that for you guys. Now here is the Unison. Like I've said in the other videos, set 10, the name of it is Unison. So the Unison here is very important with this leader. Let's give it a read of what it does. SS Gotenks, Fusion of Friendship. There is no specified cost. You do still have to pay a minimum of 1 for this. That's just really important to realize, because it can't exist on the board with 0 markers. But it has a really cool auto that says if your leader card is a black sand card, when this card's placed in your drop area from your deck by a skill and you don't have a Unison card in play this card from your drop area with a marker on it. So basically, if you happen to mill it, you play it for free, and that's incredibly powerful. The name of this deck is pretty much free play, and we'll talk about that as we go through. It's really powerful. Activate main, plus 2 markers, choose 1 card in your hand, discard it. This card gets plus 10,000 power for the turn. So a very easy way to give this card multiple markers, makes it relatively hard for your opponent to remove, and then it gets a plus 10k boost, so it can be more of a threatening attack. But that's what I was talking about before, where this deck doesn't really let you have the biggest hand in the world, but it lets you be very aggressive. Activate main, minus 4 markers. This card gets plus 20k power and dual attack for the turn. So giving it the dual attack with the double strike your leader gives it, that's some pretty serious game ending power. Next up, we have the starter deck exclusives, all of which are 4-ofs because they're all very powerful. They all have the same effect that says if your leader card's a black sand, when this card's placed in your drop area from your deck by a skill, play this card from your drop area. So very good there. The Trunks and the Vegeta are unique, so you can't have more than 1 copy of them on the board, because I mean, this deck's already broken, but if that was not a thing, this deck would be far more broken. The Supreme Kai does not have unique, so you can have as many of her on the board as you want. The Supreme Kai also has an auto. It says if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, when this card is used in a combo, this card gets plus 5,000 combo for the battle. So again, we know that this deck's not going to always have the biggest hand size, and when it doesn't, you get a 10k combo out of it, so that is pretty good. The Trunks is a unique blocker, and when he's played, you can add a card from your life to your hand, so it lets you self-awaken a little bit, because your opponent's not always going to attack your life. Sometimes they're going to focus on attacking your board to clear your board state, so having the ability to take a life when you play him is nice. Then we have the Vegeta permanent. If this card were removed from your battle area, it sends the owner's warp instead. Activate battle once per turn, pay 2, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost of 3 or less, and send it to the owner's warp. So a little bit of removal there. Honestly, you're not going to use that a ton. You're not going to charge a ton of energy. Like, after you charge 3 energy this deck, you can pretty much stop charging, and you can use Vegeta when you need to, but really the free play of Vegeta is just used for aggression. You play him for free when you mill him off your deck, and then you start swinging with him. Trunks, you get the blocker. Supreme Kai of Time, you get the free 10k combo, so that is very good. We're playing 4 Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan. This card is excellent in the upcoming format. It's particularly good against the mirror match, and if you're playing against the full-blown aggro version of Vegeks, this card is very good, because it stops a lot of your opponent's free play shenanigans that you don't necessarily have. Like, yeah, you have the Trunks blocker and you have the Supreme Kai, which your opponent will have as well, but they also have a few other free play cards that are 15k or less that they'll have to discard to in order to play if you have the Mass Saiyan on the board. We're playing 4 Time Control Cronoa because it is our 1-drop cantrip in the structure deck. We have turn 1 plays. We're not playing multicolor. We want to have a turn 1 cantrip. We want to cycle through our deck with the draw 1. And actually, in set 10, there is a Bulma super combo that plays cards. Time Control Cronoa does stop that, which is very nice. Son Goku making an entrance, 4 more negates in the deck, and this is one of the cards, well, all 3 of these actually, are cards recyclable with Power Burst. So you can negate with Goku, combo it off, Power Burst, get the Goku back, negate again, which is very good. Next up, for some of the more powerhouse cards of the deck, we have 4 Time Trauma Mass Saiyan. Like I mentioned before, people aren't always going to attack your life. You might have a high life total towards the end of the game. Time Trauma Mass Saiyan helps you out with that. When you play this card, if your leader is black, choose up to 2 cards in your life, add them to your hand. If you chose to add 1 or more cards to your hand, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 5 or less and send it to their warp. So you get the self-awaken, you get the removal, and you get the 15k beater. Super Saiyan Trunks is a 2-drop 20k. For the energy cost it has and the power it has, it is a really good rate. It's a little unfortunate you can't really combo with it because it has 0 combo power, but regardless, it is still a 20k beater for 2 energy, which is pretty powerful. Vegeta making an entrance is a counter, but it doesn't actually stop counterattacks or counter plays. But it is very important to have in the deck because it helps you be a little more aggressive. Nowadays, negates, counterplays, they are very rampant in the game, and sometimes you will need to refuel your deck. So Vegeta allows you to refuel the deck, give you a 1 energy 15k beater when your opponent least expects it, and then you're able to play this card. And you can only play it with counter, so keep in mind you have to play it when your opponent counters, but the 1 energy 15k beater is a really good rate, especially when you need to be more aggressive in certain matchups. So that's going to be the 50 card main deck. You can always include more cards in your deck if you want to, because this deck does mill a ton, so you're going to want to keep that in mind. You're going to want to be wary of that. Now, a few really cheap cards you can add to the deck and boost its power level. Nagrishi from the Shadows, permanent. When this card's placed in the drop area from a battle area or combo area, it's placed at the bottom of the owner's deck instead. So you can't really combo it to the drop area because you do need it in the drop area for the next effect. But you can use the Gotenks Unison to just discard it and get it in the drop area, easy peasy. Activate main/battle, choose one of your black battle cards with energy cost of 3 and send it to the owner's warp. Play this card from your drop area. So that's one of the free play cards I was talking about in reference to Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan that the mirror match will generally have. This is a uncommon, so it's very easy to get your hands on. I think it's like 20 cents a copy. So when you play Trunks from the deck for free by milling it, you can swap that out for Nagrishi, which is very powerful. Then if you wanted to transition your deck to a little bit more of a mid-range Vegeks style deck, you could play Vegeks Space-Time Synthesis and Vegeks Burning Impact Unleash, a combo that I'm a very big fan of. So the 6-drop Vegeks is a double strike, Union Patora for 3, Trunks and a Vegeta Xeno. Permanent, you can choose battle cards in your warp when choosing cards to use this card's Union skill from your hand. So we know the Vegeta puts itself in the warp when it leaves the field, and we know that Nagrishi warps your Trunks in order to play itself. So there you go right there. So auto, when this card's played, add up to 1 battle card with energy cost 4 or less from your warp to your hand, so you get a little bit of card advantage. You get the 25k double strike. Then we have Vegeks, the Double Strike Xeno Evolve. So a lot of us don't really remember what Xeno Evolve does because we haven't seen it in relevancy in a long time. So Xeno Evolve says warp the card you're going to evolve over. So in this case, you'll warp your 6-drop Vegeks and play the new Vegeks in active mode. So you get a double strike, and then for free you get another double strike, and then auto when this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, set it to the owner's warp, so you get a little bit of powerful removal there. So in my opinion, these are good ways to buff the deck with cards from outside the structure deck. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Are you gonna be playing Vegeks? Let me know. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time.